Welcome back. This is Sandy with Sandy's Organized Chaos, and today we are going to be doing the super easy bulletin board tumbler. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more tutorials, tips, or vlogs or products I have coming your way. So grab that favorite drink and let's get to this. Today I'll be using a 30-ounce modern curve tumbler from the Stainless Depot. I'm going to prep it and I'm going to paint it white, but please feel free to use any tumbler you have on hand for this project. Depending on your environment, it could take anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour to completely dry. After that's all done drying, I put it onto my wand. I like to use Alumilite's Amazing Clear Cast. I mixed up about 10 ounces each of A and B, and I'm going to put just a thin layer onto my tumbler. I'm using my favorite white, which is a 50-50 blend of Snowball and West Bank from Mr. Nola's Glitter, and I'm going to give it a good dousing over the tumbler there. I'm going to let that cure for about 3 hours. Then I'm going to come through and I'm going to give it another coating of my epoxy. Now, I didn't give this any spray sealer or anything like that because it's a fine glitter. I'm not worried about anything repelling. I'm only worried about chunky glitters when it comes to giving it a spray seal before epoxy. So I'm going to kind of load this up a little thick because I want it nice and smooth for when we go to apply our decals. I'm going to put this back onto my turner. I'm going to let that turn for about 8 hours, and then we'll be ready to get all those nice designs on. Now for the bulletin board design that I used, I just did a simple Google search for free printable bulletin board and all kinds of things popped up. Now these are things that teachers can use in their classrooms for free, so that way they can decorate their bulletin boards, there we go. Their bulletin boards all around their classrooms. So these things are free to download. So the hardest part is just finding something that you like, which I had a hard time because there were so many cute things. I mean, the possibilities of what you guys can come up with are endless with the amount of things that are out there. So I just found something that I liked. I wanted to keep it kind and caring because in the world today, I feel like teachers need to carry around that inspiration. So after I found something I finally liked, I mean, I liked all of it, but like I said, after I found something, I was like, okay, this will do. I went ahead and I kind of measured my cup, but then it turns out I didn't really need to measure it because my paper couldn't print out that long of strips for the border, but I'll show you guys how I did it here in a minute. I just kind of did a rough estimate of how much I'm going to need, so that way when I went to go cut it, I made sure I had at least long enough pieces that I could piece together when I went to go put it onto the tumbler. So I'm just going to measure that real quick, and then we'll be ready to print those out and cut them up and get them onto the tumbler. I will be using a transparent water slide decal paper. This is by the Hayes Paper Company. I'll make sure that I put everything in the description below that I used today, like the glitters or the paper, so that way you guys can find it easily if you need to know where I purchased it. Now I'm outside in a well-ventilated area, so that way I can use my 2x ultra clear coat stuff there. And what I like to do when coating my transparent water slide paper is I just go side to side, up and down, and give it a couple swirls. It's as easy as that. So typically what I like to do, I didn't do it for this tutorial, but if I plan on selling this tumbler in my shop, I would print out a whole bunch of these onto my sheet of paper, so that way I use up all my paper. I give it a good clear coat, let that dry, and stick it in my drawer, and anytime a customer purchases one, I have all the decals ready to go. Since this is a transparent water slide paper, I'm not really too worried about getting too close to everything. I'm just going to kind of get as close as I can, but it should just melt away whenever you go to apply it onto your tumbler, so I'm not too worried about it. Now that I have my strips here, as you guys can see, it's not going to fit completely around, but I'm not gonna, get worried about that. It'll be just fine. I'll show you guys how I do it. My little thing of water here that I always have on hand in my shop, and I have my fancy flannel blanket that I like to use. Now I'm going to take my first little water slide decal, there we go, water slide decal, I'm going to submerge it in the water. Now this won't take too long because it's so fresh. It tends to come off a lot quicker than if they kind of sat around for a little bit. If they sat around for a little bit, they might take a little bit longer to come off the backing. Let me move those out of the way so that way they don't get wet. I don't want them wet yet. It's just as easy as lining it up where you would like it, sliding out that backing from underneath your design, and then pressing all that water out. As you can see, I'm just simply rolling that tumbler as I'm pulling the backing out, which helped out a lot with placing it at the top. Now I'm just going to kind of line it up and make sure it looks nice and straight, and then I'll show you guys how I lined up the rest of it. Now that that's nice and dry, I'm going to come through with my other design I have here. Now I'm just going to kind of line it, I'm going to hold it up to it and see how long of a piece I'm going to need. And it turns out I need about 3 pieces. So I'm just going to kind of line it up and see it needed about 3 more. So I'm just going to cut those out of there. I'm going to place it into my water, and then I'm going to apply it to the tumbler. Now that that's ready to come off, I'm just going to lay it down. First, I'm going to take this side. I'm just going to line it up and see how close I need to be, because water slide tends to expand a little bit when you press on it. It'll kind of stretch and expand. So all I did was just kind of make sure that I stretched it on each side and make sure it was all going to touch one another. And you couldn't even see the line. I amazed myself. You couldn't even see the line where they were touching. So I'm just going to finish touching that up, and then I'm going to do the bottom real quick in the same fashion. But it turned out the bottom didn't even need to be cut. It didn't even need any extra pieces. It fit completely together. So all I'm going to do is just kind of stretch it again and just make sure I push all that water out, and then we'll be ready to add the rest of those decals. Now, because we're working with so much water slide decals on here, you just want to be careful when you're handling your tumbler so that way you don't accidentally peel up anything as you're working. Now, I didn't use up all the decals that I had printed up, but that's okay because I'll stick them in my drawer and I'll use them for another bulletin board tumbler at some point. So I'm just going to kind of figure out where I want everything to go. And I actually even left a little bit of a space because I do plan on giving this to one of my kids' teachers. I left a space so I could put Miss Sandy's classroom or, Miss Sandy on there. So I did leave a little bit of a space for that. The rest of it is super easy. You just put your decals on wherever you'd like them to be. There is no right or wrong when it comes to making artwork, and that's what you're doing here. You're making artwork. There is no right or wrong. Wherever your imagination takes you, let it take you there. Like I said, there are so many different designs out there that you guys can make for these bulletin board tumblers, and I cannot wait to see them. I bet they're going to be even better than mine. I'm going to let my water slide decals dry for a little while, and then I'm going to give it a nice little coating of clear coat, mix up some A and B, put it on there, and there you go. Your tumbler is done. Whether you try to duplicate this or make it something completely your own, I hope that you guys had fun watching this today. Again, if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more tips or vlogs or tutorials I have coming your way, and I will see you guys next time.